Hello everyone, and welcome again to Jason's in the House. I'm your host, Jason Parisella, a real estate agent over at Keller Williams Realty over at the Cumming Center. And we have Joseph DeGiovanni with us today. He is a master plumber who owns Lynnfield Plumbing and Heating, and he actually works out of Georgetown, Mass. So welcome, Joe. It's nice to have you on the show.
It's nice to be here.
Great. Let me ask you, what is it? The different levels of being a plumber. You're a master plumber.
Yes.
So what does that mean?
Master plumber in the state of Massachusetts is the highest license you can have. I'm actually a master plumber and a master gas fitter as well. The way it works is you go to school for it for 3 years usually, and then after you graduate from the school, you have to find a company that'll hire you, and you have to do an apprenticeship for 3 years, as well as go to night school again. So you're going to school pretty much all the time.
Wow, yeah.
If you can make it through the 3-year apprenticeship and you have enough hours in, you can go for your first license, which is a journeyman's.
Yeah.
After that, you've got to go back to school again for another year and wait a year before you can take your master's license exam.
Okay. So when someone hires a plumber, first of all, let me ask you, what in the state of Mass, how can you become a plumber so someone actually can call you and go to the house and do work? What license do you have to have?
Well, to run
your own business.
To run your own business, you can run your own business as a journeyman plumber, but if you want to hire people, you have to have a master plumber's license.
So you have to get the journeyman's license to actually be able to go in business on your own?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What are most, what kind of a guess, most people that homeowners call, they usually journeymen, or are they master plumbers?
I know quite a few plumbers, and there's a fair amount of journeymans out there, but most of them go to the next level and want to become a master because they want to grow their business. They want to be able to hire people.
I see.
And you can't hire anybody unless you have a master plumber's license.
So then you can hire apprentices and journeymen?
Yes,
yeah.
But you can only hire one apprentice per license. So if I had 3 other journeyman plumbers working for me, we could each have an apprentice.
Okay, all right, interesting.
That's how it works. You can have more apprentices than you do licenses in the shop.
I see. Okay. All right. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your company, when you started, a little bit along those lines.
Well, we started the business in 1994. We're a small company. It's actually just myself now. And I basically gear my business towards doing residential plumbing in people's homes. I do all types of new construction, small to large renovations, additions, different types of heating systems, pretty much right down to small repair work.
So you'll fix somebody's leaking faucet?
Yes, I will. I've learned a long time ago that if you're willing to do small jobs for people that other plumbers may not want to do, they're going to hire you later on when they want to do a bigger project.
Right, right. So you're from Georgetown. How did you get the name Lynnfield? Is that where you started the business? Or?
Well, actually, I grew up in Lynnfield, and when I was living there, that's when I started the business.
I see.
And I found the name appealing.
Right.
So that's what we decided to call the company, and I've stayed with that name ever since.
Yeah. Okay. What about some recently completed projects? What have you been working on recently? What are people calling you for? What's kind of some of the things that are common?
Yep. Well, I've been very lucky. Recently, I work with a good group of people, and we do a fair amount of high-end work. A project that we just completed was a handicap bathroom in Boxford. It was a pretty large bathroom for a guy who unfortunately got sick. And we basically took the bathroom apart, made a 10-foot square walk-in shower, all handicap accessible with a wheelchair, the whole 9 yards, handicap style, double vanity, handicap style toilet. We really did it up right for this guy.
Well, that's good.
You know, a special jacuzzi tub, which I'm sure he's enjoying using.
Yeah.
You know, we made it so that when he came home from the hospital, he'd be a lot more comfortable than if we left the bathroom the way it was.
Yeah, excellent. So, what are some other? What do you get mostly? What's your most common calls that you get?
Well, during the heating season, I get I get a lot of no heat calls. People that know they had problems.
I mean, are they calling the oil company though? Generally, are they calling you, or do you subcontract from an oil company?
No, they're calling me generally if it's a gas system. If somebody has an oil-fired system, they may call their oil company, wherever they get their oil delivered from. Other than that, they'll call me.
I see. So these are people that you've done work with before, and then
Yep.
they're calling you when there's a, yeah.
Yeah, most of them are people I've done work for before. I do pick up new customers.
What about the frozen?
Off and on.
What about the frozen pipes?
We get a lot of that every year.
What's the most common way of pipes freeze? Is it the ones like on an outside wall, like in a bathroom, or
Yep.
uninsulated?
Yep, on older homes, uninsulated walls. Usually they've had the problem before, and they just never really solved the problem. Another big mistake that people make is that they'll go away on vacation and think it's okay to turn their thermostat down to 45 or 50 degrees.
Right.
Big mistake. You don't want to do that.
Where should people? Where should you? What's the lowest you should go?
I tell people to leave it around 60 degrees.
Really? Okay.
Yep. I mean, you don't have to turn it up higher as if you were home. If you have a programmable thermostat, just set it so that it always stays on 60.
Now, what about? Are there some devices, or how do you? I mean, you know, there's a storm, or the power gets knocked out. Whatever happens, and your heating system isn't working. Is there ways to kind of monitor that? To make it so that, you know, if it's not on for a week, even if you had it at 60, then you're going to have an issue potentially.
Unfortunately, if you lose electricity in your home, most heating systems aren't going to work. But what people can do is they have alarms that you can wire through your phone system to a monitoring company.
Oh, I see. That's, yeah. So it's part of somebody's security.
Correct. It can be part of somebody's security system in their home, and they can in turn contact someone who's watching your property, who's responsible for taking care of the heat in your home. So there are devices out there that
they'll do that. Do they have? What about? I haven't really looked into it myself, but they have. I've seen at some magazines. You know, you have your own online website. I don't know if you've gotten into that at all, like monitoring website that you hooking devices into the heating system or whatever, and you get an email or a text message or something saying there's an issue with your house.
Right. I've heard of that as well. I don't currently do that, but it sounds like another, really good device that people can use.
Yeah, a lot of gadgets. It seems all this new technology and everything. So many gadgets and.
Right. Oh, there are.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are. I think the main thing is that people just need to know in a very short amount of time that they have a serious problem at their home, so that they don't have a freeze-up problem.
Yeah, yeah. So what about in the summertime? Leaky, like the hoses and the outside spigots and things like that. You run into a lot of those. Those
Yep.
things are leaking or whatever.
Well, a lot of times people will forget to take their hoses off of their outside faucets, and if you don't take them off, the outside faucet will freeze.
Yeah, the water stays there and just.
Yep.
So obviously,
So we do a lot of that.
Yeah, it's really when the water is freezing, it expands and then it's going to break.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another hot topic is everyone's talking about going green. So how does that relate to a plumber? Are you people asking you for the latest and greatest fixtures, and what's going on with all that?
We get a lot of call for that, and I think it's great. I think that there is a lot of technology out there, and there are a lot of things out on the market that can save you a lot of water in your home. I brought a few things with me today.
Yeah, why don't you see if you can hold that up like this? Yeah, we can get that on. There we go.
This is made by a company called Hans Grohe. It can actually save you about 40%. You can use 40% less water with this shower head, and you still get a very nice stream of water. It's an excellent shower head.
So let me see that for a minute. So a lot of these ones, personally, I've noticed, you know, they save water in it, but you know, you don't get any pressure and any water comes out of them. So how can you tell which ones are actually gonna make it so that you know, people still enjoy their shower?
Right. Well, you kind of have to know what you're buying. I'm very familiar with this company, and you do get a good stream of water. You do get a nice steady stream of water, a forceful shower.
So you won't really notice it as much on this particular
No,
shower
not on
head.
that one. No.
Interesting. So you got to.
It's excellent.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they're a little expensive, but they work well. From the same company, they also make a nice handheld shower setup. Same thing, you can save about 40% worth of water, and you still get a nice stream of water. This particular company has been around for a long time, and we use these products on a lot of our jobs.
Mm-hmm. So these are pretty common ones, these two here? Like this setup is pretty common, what you'll put in?
Yeah, they are. In most high-end bathrooms that we do, people want to have a handheld shower setup as well as a shower head.
Right.
So we'll install a particular type of mixing valve that can handle the shower head as well as the handheld shower.
Now, what about these
One at a
showers?
time.
Yeah, I've seen some of these showers that you know, you got 6 heads,
Body sprays.
body sprays, and down and up
Sure.
and all that. I mean, that's obviously you're not saving any water doing that, but
No, you're not really saving any water when you go down that road, but
Yeah.
the bottom line is that
if people want it,
if people want it, you give it to them.
Yeah.
That's a great system
yeah.
to have body sprays, a nice handheld shower set up on a slide bar, and a shower head as well.
Yeah. Okay. What else do we have going, like to you know, save energy and some of the newer products on that
Sure.
that way?
Another company that I do a lot of business with is a company called Toto. What I buy from them is basically just toilets.
So, so in your opinion, a Toto toilet is kind of a top of the line?
In my opinion, it is, yes.
Okay.
Yep. I'm just going to read a couple of things real quickly off of this chart. If you had a very old toilet, which people still have in their homes, they can use up to 5.5 gallons per flush. If they flush it a certain amount of times every day, at the end of the year, that can add up to over 32,000 gallons of water. With a Toto toilet, you can save over 24,000 gallons of water per year, and that's just for your toilet. They
So
make
when
other
they
flushes as well.
on a Toto toilet, what's the basic? Is it a gallon per flush generally?
No, they've even done better than that.
Really?
On a lot of their toilets now, it's 1.28 gallons per flush. With just about every other manufacturer out there, they're all standard at 1.6 gallons per flush.
How do they? I mean, what do they have? The way it pressurizes or whatever?
Yeah,
It's just a better system.
It's just a better system. It's just a better system. They actually have a toilet out on the market now that gives you the choice of flushing either 1 gallon of water or 1.6 gallons.
So you
I won't go into detail depending on the circumstances.
right. Interesting. So you pick, if you want to save a little more water, you just flush the other one.
That's
yeah.
right.
So two different valves.
Yes, it actually has 2 buttons on top of the tank, and depending on what you're doing, that's the one you flush.
Interesting. Okay.
So they really have taken the lead, in my opinion, as far as making products that are, you know, energy efficient and to save water.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would imagine the toilet can you know, you start racking up some expense when you're flushing the toilet a lot. And there's, you know, the older toilet. What were the older ones? Like 2 gallons?
The very, very old
Oh.
toilets that some people still have in their home used up to 5.5 gallons per flush.
Wow.
And then as they got a little newer, they went down to 3.5 gallons.
Huh.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of these toilets out there. So you can imagine if you had a large family, how much water you could save
Right.
over the course of a year.
Yep. Anything else on the Toto product that you wanted to point out?
They've won awards. They're recognized by the EPA for water efficiency. They're a Water Sense partner, and they're a member of the Alliance for Water Efficiency.
Great. Okay.
So again, like I said, they've really taken the extra step to make a better environment.
Yeah, okay. What else do you have as far as the green?
Well, that's all I brought with me today.
Okay, so what about in the kitchen? Do you have what generally, thinking about the faucets, is there specific faucets now and things like that that can help to save?
Sure. Yeah.
The same like a Hans Grohe type product, or it would be?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, Hans Grohe makes some really good kitchen sink faucets that also save water. Beautiful faucets. And again, they're all geared to using the minimal amount of water all through the aerator at the end of the faucet. Anything that you buy today to a point is going to be energy efficient. That's mandated by the federal government. Right down the line, toilets, faucets, everything today is designed to save water and be as energy efficient as possible. Water heaters, boilers, furnaces.
Okay. Excellent. I want you to touch on, I think you even brought a booklet on the new EPA laws regarding lead paint.
Right.
What's happening with all that? That's nationwide, correct?
Correct. That's nationwide, and that's a pretty big item, actually. As of April 24th, 2010, every contractor that worked in the United States has to be EPA certified.
So there's electricians, plumbers, carpenters?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody. If you're a contractor, if you own any type of construction business in the country, then you have to be EPA certified.
How do people find out that people are, if these contractors are?
Well, first of all, you should ask I think people, homeowners need to be aware of this. And
I mean, generally someone's not going to really know, right? I mean,
well, most people wouldn't, but they should be asking the contractor before they hire them,
right.
Especially if they have an older home, pre-1978, if they're EPA certified.
So that's the question you asked, are you EPA certified?
That's right.
That's okay, okay.
Do you know how to work in pre-1978 homes that have lead paint in them?
Right.
And they should also be informing you of that. It shouldn't necessarily be up to the homeowner.
Right. I'm just thinking, most homeowners aren't going to know to ask them about, are you EPA certified? I mean, generally, you forget to ask them about the insurance and the license and all that other stuff too. Yeah.
Right. And those are good questions as well to ask somebody before you hire them. But this is just yet another thing you want to find out about before you hire somebody.
So you've done all the training for that?
Yes. Yeah, it's a one-day, 9-hour course that you have to take, and what you get at the end of the day is this lovely plaque, lovely paper with your picture on it that says that you have completed the course and that you are EPA certified to work in pre-1978 homes. And then you also have to register with the EPA,
okay.
which I've done.
So that's if someone wanted to actually see, this is the camera over here, so you want to just, that's okay, actually, yeah. That's what people want to ask for, like get from their contractor?
Well, what you're going to get from your contractor is, you should be showing them this.
Okay.
Definitely.
So if somebody asks you EPA certified, you're going to show them that certificate?
I'm going to show them that certificate. And I'm also going to give them a booklet.
Oh, okay.
That talks in very simple language about lead paint and what people should be aware of and what steps the contractor that's doing the work is going to take to protect the homeowner when they're working in their home.
Right. Because you can't, the idea is not to disturb the lead paint in any way, because you'll get lead dust or in the house.
Well, you are going to disturb it, for sure, when you're doing remodel work.
So, do we have to put plastic on like kind of protect it all now?
Yep. Yes, that's a big part of it. They teach you how to seal off the room, how to cover doors, how to cover registers. If you have a hot air system in your home, they teach you how to make the room safe.
So I'm thinking in my head, wow, that's going to cost somebody more money.
It will.
So there's no way around it at this point, right? I mean, you have to.
No, there really isn't any way around it. And
So if anything pre-1978, unless you have, what if somebody has a lead paint, certificate of compliance for lead paint, that they've gotten the house de-leaded? Do you still have to do that?
I imagine if they had a certificate of compliance that the house is lead-free, then no, I guess it
wouldn't matter,
it
right?
wouldn't matter. But I would want to see that information, and I would want to.
Yeah.
I'd want there to be a paper trail.
My understanding too is, on the lead paint is that to have a lead paint compliance certificate, that doesn't mean there's no lead in the house. It just means that in the areas that they mandate, like 6 feet, windowsills and things like that, have no lead paint. So you could still be working on a wall and break through a wall that has lead paint on it, even if you have that certificate. So
Right.
that's an interesting,
Right. I think when somebody has their house de-leaded, you never get rid of all the lead anyway.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's still there.
Right. So I think that you have to still follow the rules, so
Right,
to
that's what I'm
speak,
thinking, yeah.
and seal off the room and do everything appropriately.
Yeah. What other items do you have to show us tonight?
Well, I brought a couple of other items that I've installed, quite a few of them, and that I really like. I'll start with this one. This is a device that gets installed when you install a water heater. And basically what it does is it'll shut off the water supply to the water heater if the water heater ever lets go. And usually, when does a water heater let go? Usually when the homeowner's out away.
Right, right.
What this device will do is it'll shut off the water so you don't have a really bad flood. The way it works, it gets piped right into the cold water line to the water heater, and you actually have a sensor that gets put down on the floor, preferably in a safety pan. And once this sensor senses water, it'll close the valve.
Huh. So that goes actually right in the pan then?
It goes right in the pan.
What if you don't have the pan there?
If you don't have a pan, you're not going to take the water heater out to put a pan in. What they recommend doing is putting a pretty thick bead of silicone all around the base of the water heater and kind of make, a makeshift pan, something that this can sit inside of so that it can sense if there's water leaking out of the water heater.
So the only thing you're going to lose is, well, not the only thing, but you're going to get, if it's a 40-gallon tank, 40 gallons going on your basement floor, but that's all.
That's right. Well, the
No
whole
more
40,
than that, yeah.
No more than that. And the whole 40 gallons would never come out unless it let go really badly.
The whole bottom came out or something
Right.
like that, yeah.
Right. But this, what this does is it takes away the water pressure so that the water isn't coming out forcibly.
Now, do you generally, if somebody calls you and the hot water heater lets go, are you generally telling people about this, or are you generally just replacing the water heater?
No, I try to promote it. When I do it, I think it's a good feature to have on a water heater. It's not, it's not a big item.
It's something that
to install.
Yeah, okay.
Big money item to install.
It's not like, okay, yeah.
And it definitely benefits the homeowner.
I mean, because a lot of the homes I've been in, I don't think I've ever seen. Maybe I have. Now that I see that, I can probably, if I look for it. But generally, I think a lot of this stuff, people don't have it. And I think if more people knew about it, that's why I asked you, if more people knew about it, I think they would probably say, well, yeah, put that in too, to have that extra protection there.
That's right, yeah. There are a lot of products out on the market that I don't think people are aware of that could help save them water and energy, help protect their finished basement, their beautiful new carpeting.
Right.
A lot of times that's what happens. We'll come in and the carpets will be ruined.
Yeah.
Depending on how long the water heater's been running.
Yeah.
It's not a good situation.
Now, you generally putting the hot water heaters, you putting them right on the concrete floor, or
No.
you generally, what do you use to get them up a little bit?
Generally, we raise it up. The water heater's up off of the floor with 4-inch solid bricks.
You use bricks?
Yep.
Actually, I have bricks under mine now that I think of it, yeah.
Yep. If we're putting in a new boiler, we'll use 4-inch solid blocks.
So you'll put everything up no matter what?
Right.
Even if somebody says, I had never had water in my basement, you're going
Right.
to put it up?
Right, because there's always a first time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think general nature is a basement's going to get water at some point.
Correct. I think most plumbing inspectors kind of frown on that when you don't raise.
But it's not to,
It's up off
so if
the
it isn't, if you can put it on the floor, but it doesn't, you'll still get a permit, they'll sign off on it, but they recommend it off.
Right, they'll
Yeah.
still sign off on it, and it's not a good idea to have an appliance, especially a water heater, sitting on a floor anyway. You do want to have some airflow going underneath the
Yeah.
appliance
You get a little damp anyways, you know, it starts rusting.
as well.
What's this item here?
Well, this is another pretty good item that's out on the market today, and basically what it is it's an electronic washing machine valve. Everybody has a washing machine in their home. Everybody has some type of washing machine valve. What this one will do, it works basically the same way as that one. It'll electronically shut off the valve if it senses any water on the floor with this sensor right here.
Oh, so that's actually the hose. The hoses are going into that.
No, the hoses are going to attach here.
Right inside the box here, yep.
That's right. And this sensor goes down. Again, it can go into a pan, or if there's no pan, you want to get it as close to the hoses as possible, and it plugs right in here. And if this sensor senses any water, it'll shut the valve down. Like if the washing machine lets go, or if one of the hoses lets go.
I was going to say, or one of the hoses, because it's more common that the hose is going to let go, isn't it, than the washing machine?
That's right. Especially if people have the old rubber hoses.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. A lot of people, what are those, actually stainless steel hoses?
Right, stainless steel hoses, stainless steel washing machine hoses are the way to go now. They're virtually unbreakable unless they freeze. So the way this works is, if the washing machine valve senses any water at all through this, it'll shut it down. And it will not work again until the problem is corrected and until the surface here is clean and dried.
Okay.
So it's a really good safety device to have.
Yep.
For your washing machine, and well worth the cost.
Okay, great.
In my opinion.
We have about a minute left. So I wanted to ask you about, those are great things to have homeowners know about. Gas or oil? There's always people talking about what's better, gas or oil, and everyone has their preference. Your opinion? Someone's going to go with gas or oil?
Gas.
Gas.
Gas all the way.
And what heating system are you dealing with mostly? If you want someone to put a new one in, is it what, forced hot water?
Yep, I do a lot of forced hot water boilers. I like Burnham. I like Peerless. You know, there's many brands on the market, but those are the two that I kind of like installing.
So you like the gas? Okay.
I do.
All right.
I do. There's a lot of great systems out there. Some of them are up to 95% efficient.
Wow. So some of these people, including myself, with these old heating systems are probably
That's right,
a lot of it's
Jason.
going up the chimney, yeah.
I'm getting itchy.
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
ready to come
I'll have
in
to
and
get you over, yeah.
take care of that for you.
Great. So Joe, if anyone has any other questions for you, how can they get a hold of you?
So if you want to get a hold of me, you can call me at 978-979-7693, or you can email me at lynnfieldplumbingheating@comcast.net.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Joe. What an informative show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, excellent. Well, before we close, I just wanted to thank you again for watching Jason's in the House. It's always a pleasure. Thank you to BevCam. And if you have any questions, comments for me, anything at all, or if you actually want to be a guest on the show, feel free to call me or actually go to my website, jasonparisellateam.com. Thank you.